Hello, and welcome to Church at Home with Rachael for Wednesday, the 31st of May. I know I say this a lot, but where is the year going? Okay. Well, today I'm going to share with you a devotion that I read from Bear Grylls' Soul Fuel from last week. So he says here, he quotes a story. A water bearer in India had two large pots, both hung on the ends of a pole that was slung across his neck. One of the pots was perfect. It always delivered a full portion of water. The other was cracked. At the end of the long walk from the stream to the house, the cracked pot always arrived half full. The broken pot was embarrassed and miserable. One day, while the water bearer was filling it up at the stream, the pot spoke. I am ashamed of myself, and I want to apologize to you. I have only been able to deliver half of what you give me because of this crack in my side. I leak all the way back to your house, making extra work for you. The water bearer smiled. Haven't you noticed the flowers that are growing on only your side of the path? I've always known about your crack, and so I planted flower seeds on your side of the path, not the other. You've watered them every day without realizing it. You don't need to be perfect for God to use you. You just need to be available. He quotes from 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verses 9 and 10. Therefore I will boast all the more gladly about my weaknesses, so that Christ's power may rest on me. For when I am weak, then I am strong. With less false dependence on our own worthiness, less of us, and a greater awareness of our need for His help and presence, more of Him, we create space to receive the light of God. Our flaws and hurts allow Christ to shine through us, and they become a way to live for His love to reach others. Amen. Amen. Have you heard that story before? I've heard it before, and it's one of those stories. Sorry. I keep little dude with me as just a quiet and gentle reminder, so hopefully he won't fall over. I've heard that story before, and then it disappears, and then it comes back at just the right time. I needed to hear that last week. I was feeling pretty broken and feeling kind of like, what good am I as a priest? I'm not able to help people. People don't reach out to me the way, I offer, and they don't reach out. And then, when they do, it feels like it's too late, and things are just, wasn't having a good week. And I read that and I realized that sometimes it's our broken places, our broken parts that make us the most able to do what we're called to do. There are so many people out in the world who are really, really good at their jobs. Have you noticed that? There's always somebody who's like the expert, somebody who's the go-to person that you want to have. Rob's got his knees, he's sort of blown out his knee, and they're talking about, they want to get him an appointment with the greatest surgeon, like the one person who can really fix this knee, and it's going to take a long time. And his response was, I don't care if this doctor graduated bottom of his class. If he can fix my knee, get me to him. We have this idea in our society that we have to have perfection, that our churches need to be filled. They have to have children, they have to have young people, we have to have ministries for the old people, we have to have the perfect music, and that's either organ music or guitars or a cappella or chant or Gregorian, or like everything we do has to be just top notch. It has to be perfect. And if it's not, well, then we panic, we worry. Well, how are we ever going to attract people? How are we ever going to do this? How are we going to do that? And really, what we should be paying attention to is being the best that we can be. I don't know about you, but I'm not good at, I'm not really great at anything. I am a kind person most of the time. I think I'm fairly compassionate when I'm patient. There are moments when I'm not so compassionate. I think I'm an okay preacher. I do my best. I'm not going to win any awards, but that's okay. We don't need to win awards for being us. Our award really should be knowing that God at any moment when we're doing our best could look at us and say, well done, good and faithful servant. And if that means that you're a half-cracked pot, sorry, just that makes me laugh. If you, when you are going about your day, are leaking water and able to water those flowers, those seeds that have been planted, that you maybe don't recognize, but other people see and can stop and have a moment of taking a deep breath and smelling the fragrance and realizing that, oh, okay, I have the strength I need now to go on and do whatever I do next. You may never know that you did that, but you offered that to someone because of the way you were. I think we need to get away from this idea of thinking of ourselves as not, if we aren't perfect, if we aren't the best at work, if we're not the best parent, the best cook, the best gardener, the best, that somehow we don't measure up. The fact is, if we do the best we can do in the moment of doing, that's all we're asked to do. That's all we're asked to do. When we allow ourselves to get so wrapped around the axle, to get so preoccupied by how we should do something, we run the risk of not paying attention of what happens within us as we do something. For instance, if I'm leading worship and I'm more concerned that there are fewer people every Sunday, or that our music isn't up to snuff, or that, that my preaching didn't get a big amen at the end, have I done what I was called to do? Yeah, if I did it. Did I do what I was called to do with enough of my heart? I'd argue that I didn't. Because you see, when I preach a sermon, it's not about me. It's about Jesus. It's about God. It's about giving a glimpse, as imperfect as it might be. It's about sharing the good news of Jesus Christ. It's about reaching out with those words to someone out there who might need to hear those words in that moment. When we sing a hymn, it's not about whether or not we are good at singing. God knows I'm not. But it's not about how beautiful our voices are. It's about the words that we're sharing, that we're singing. It's about the message we're giving. It's about the reason we're singing, that we're worshiping God. We're giving thanks to God for life and hope and love and Jesus and each other. And if we're singing to the best of our ability, even if we're making other people's ears bleed, then we are doing our best because we are giving to God the worship that God is due, the worship that God is worthy of. And you know what? If there's a fewer people in church on any given Sunday, as long as there's one, there's a person ready and willing and able to hear the good news of Jesus Christ. It's not about having 300. If 300 people walk away and have heard the good news, awesome. But that 300 people may not walk away and have heard anything. But if one person can walk away feeling uplifted or forgiven, or walk away with a sense of hope and possibility in faith, then God's work has been done. It's important that we not beat ourselves up for not being the perfect pot. Maybe if we were to really take a look at ourselves, we might recognize and understand that the perfect pot, its vocation, what God wanted it to do, was to take a whole pot worth of water back to that hut. But the vocation that God chose for that imperfect pot was to water those flowers and to take water back to that hut. And it did its jobs perfectly. So maybe we need to focus on figuring out how God is working through us in our imperfection, and then recognize that that is a good thing. That God made us the way we are, completely imperfectly, and we can celebrate in that. So what are your imperfections that you can celebrate? I know I'll be thinking about mine today. Have a great day, and God bless. I'll see you again tomorrow for Church at Home with Rachel.